Hey everyone, Gerard Scarpese here, co-founder of the Hairbrain community. Super excited today. We're coming to you from San Diego, and we're at the factory, which, as you guys hopefully know, is owned by DJ Muldoon, a good buddy of ours. And we've got a very special guest today, Mrs. Caitlin Butler, who I'm proud to say has been, such an important member of the Hairbrain community for so long. She was probably one of the first 100 people to actually register on Hairbrain as a member over probably close to 10 years ago. And she's been just such a positive influence. She, over the years, started out here in San Diego, then moved to Chicago and worked with Smith Davis, which that's just a great salon where she got some incredible training. Then came back here to San Diego to work in Bellis Academy as a teacher and to do clients here at the factory salon. So awesome to have Katie with us today. She's got a beautiful model, Sarah, here. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Sarah's also a very young cosmetology student, just started. So super excited about that. And Katie's going to be doing kind of a short haircut with some disconnection on the edges. Let's get into the haircut, Katie. Tell us what you got going on.
So, right now, I'm cutting, well, she had an undercut, so I'm connecting into her undercut kind of flat, making a flat layer, probably a square shape, and I'm going to connect the top into my little layers right now.
So with that length, it looks like you have a lot of nice texture. Are you thinking about getting some kind of texture in it, or you want it to kind of be a little bit smoother when you're finished?
Some texture, for
sure.
Awesome.
So lots of our friends are joining us. Lots of love for Katie. You've got some friends out there. Angelica Rods just joined on and asked where you started. Angelica, good news, we just started. So Katie, you put in, would you say it's a little bit more of like a square section on the top?
Yeah, like a square, and then kind of like a half circle in the back.
And then you started right there in the center and kind of layering it down. Just like a visual length that you think is going to have like a nice texture to it?
Yeah, just connecting it into her previous undercut.
Awesome. So Peg Krabari is here. She says hi.
Hi.
Dennis McDonald, what's up? How you doing? So guys, show your love for Katie. She's super excited to be demonstrating. If you're just joining us, we're coming live from the factory in San Diego. Katie works here as a stylist, and she also works at Bellis Academy as an instructor, so out there shaping the youth of today. What's that like working in the school?
It's a ton of fun, actually. I really like teaching the students. One of my students actually works here, so it's super exciting for me to have her as a student and then now see her as a stylist. Awesome. So it's like super cool.
Yeah, you get to see that growth. So as you're working now, are you over-directing? Are you following the head shape? Give us a little bit more info.
I'm over-directing kind of right where the head rounds to make it a little more square.
Taylor Roosh is here saying, yay, Katie.
Hi, that's one of my students.
Yeah. Connie Peterman says, hi from Macon, Georgia. Let us know where you're watching from, guys. We always wonder where people are in the world. We've had people from Australia watching. So we're in San Diego today. We're at the factory, which is a salon owned and run by DJ Muldoon, who you guys know is one of the best educators in the world. Here he is, my buddy. Say hi. He's in the background creating some content. And Katie works here as a stylist. And so how do you do both? I know there's a lot of people out there that would love to teach and love to work in a salon. How do you manage to do both? Like, what's your schedule like?
Well, I teach at the school Tuesday through Friday, 2 to 10:30, 11. And then I come to the salon. I'm on the schedule maybe like 2 or 3 days a week, and I just come in whenever I have a client, usually in the morning, and then I go to work and teach.
So you have that flexibility to do both?
Yes.
Awesome. Do you find being a teacher makes you a better stylist behind the chair?
Yes, because I have to think about what I'm doing, and I have to explain what I'm doing instead of just being like, I'm doing this.
Awesome. So lots of people are joining. Lots of people are loving it, sending their love. Thanks for watching, guys. If you just tuned in, we're here with Katie Butler, and she is working on a short kind of shape. It's going to have some disconnection around the edges. Maybe tell us a little bit more about, the style, and let's talk about how you're cutting right now.
So the style, I grew up, a little punk kid. I've always been into like Chelsea cuts and shorter haircuts. and I'm very inspired by Paul Stafford right now. So I saw her hair, I saw her face. She looks cool, she's down for anything, so I was like, okay, this will be good.
So kind of going off that Chelsea vibe, which is like short on the inside, and I guess you're gonna have like some longer pieces around the sides and the front.
Yes.
Awesome. So a bit more of an edgy look for a young future professional.
Yes.
Love that. Again, lots of love coming in. We've got, okay, I'm just looking to see where people are watching from. We've got someone watching from Australia. That's
Ivan Duda is here with us from Croatia.
Yay!
Yeah, Croatia, Ivan. Lots of people wondering about what the tattoo on your finger says.
Which one? Oh.
This one. Show us.
It's a band called Jawbreaker. It says Dear You.
Awesome. Again, if you guys have any technical questions about what Katie is doing here, so would you say now that it's completely flat layered? Or is it graduated a little bit?
Yes, flat.
Flat.
I'm making it flat. But I am cutting out on the inside of my fingers.
Why do you choose that rather than working over the hand?
Because her hair's short, it's easier for me to see. And I can do
So when you cut down shorter, you feel more comfortable working kind of like what sometimes people call palm to palm?
Yes.
Versus, again, people are always asking, so this would be, sometimes we call it overhand. When do you tend to use that compared to palm to palm?
For me, a little bit longer than this, especially because I have to, connecting it into something shorter and making sure I can get a good grip on it.
I think I've always found for me, it's like once it gets like longer than 4 inches, it feels way more comfortable to go overhand. Shorter than 4 inches, I almost always want to go inside the hand. That's my rule of hand position. Here's a great question coming in from our buddy Michael Snyder. We all know Michael.
Oh,
he wants to
hi.
know, Katie, who was one of your first mentors?
Mine? Okay. Well, his name is Joshua Flowers. He's taught me almost everything I know about cutting hair.
Awesome.
Made me cry cutting hair in the basement.
We remember those days. We remember those days. Yeah, Josh and Katie were very early members and contributors and people who created awesome content. And now we're here. We're here in San Diego. For those of you just joining us, we're at the Factory, which is DJ Muldoon's home space where he does his classes. He has a salon here. Katie works here as a stylist. She also works at the Bells Academy as an instructor. All right, so let's get into this technically. How was it developing for you?
I'm looking at it, and I like, the shape that's happening. I pulled it pretty square so that I built some corners right at the mastoid. Now,
When you say the mastoid, can you show us, just for people at home who maybe don't know that language?
just behind the ear, before the hairline starts to like dip back, there's a little bone.
So when something's square, you tend to be over-directing and building more weight there.
Yes. All right. Now I'm just kind of deciding where I want to go from here. I'm going to start on the top.
So how much of this did you have planned? You just had kind of a general idea of where you're going to start. When you cut, do you plan everything from beginning to end, or do you?
I'm not very organized. So when I start a haircut or start something, I just kind of have an idea of what I want to do. I have a look at my model's face and I see what they're comfortable with, and then I kind of go from there. And then I change my mind a lot as I'm working. So I'll have like sections started, and then I'll be like, just kidding, that's not working out how I wanted it to work out. Flip the script.
Awesome comment from Felicia Adams. She used to love those basement videos, and she's so happy to see you leading your best hair life.
Thanks.
All right, so you've chosen now to go vertically from the crown through to the front.
Yes.
And what's the game plan?
I think I'm going to do convex. I'm going to follow the shape of her head.
So kind of rounded through, that's that language. Convex means kind of rounded through, as opposed to concave, which would be opposite to the head.
So I'm going to connect it into my longest bit right there.
Zoe's watching. She says, Katie is the queen of hair. We are not worthy.
I'm not worthy.
Awesome. A lot of love. People watching from all over. We've got someone watching from Albania.
Oh, wow.
Matilda watching from Albania, which is awesome. All right, so explain to us now when you say convex, how do you know what convex is with the head shape?
So, you can kind of see it's rounding. I place my comb kind of flat on the head, straight up.
So kind of having the comb on the head, that's really what helps, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, because you can kind of like read it and then come up and then follow the curvature. And that'll, probably make it fall a bit softer on the face rather than kind of having a lot of extra length or a corner at the front.
Yes.
Hey, Frank Mussolino, what's up?
Hi.
Our buddy Frank is watching. Yeah, Frank through the top here. Katie's working concave. So she kind of square layered the back flat and then has a little panel on the top working concave, and she's going to have some little disconnections around the sides and the front. You mentioned Paul Stafford, who is a great friend of ours and has been featured on multiple teach-ins on stage with us, and he's a brilliant hair cutter. And what were you inspired by in terms of his work?
Well, he's just so cute. I love him.
He's got great personal style, huh?
He does.
He's quite the dandy.
I saw him I think it was last year at the Naha teach-in, and I was just so impressed because I'd never seen him live. I've only seen him on Instagram, and I was too terrified to go meet him at ABS in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally saw him in Las Vegas, and I was like, whoa, he's cool.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out, it's Paul Stafford. He's on Instagram and on Facebook.
We Are Stafford Hair.
We Are Stafford Hair, yeah. And he's from Northern Ireland and a brilliant precision hair cutter with strong shapes. And Katie was inspired by his work here today, doing this kind of short crop with some disconnection around the edges. All right, so now are you over-directing towards the center, or what's the plan as you work out?
I think I'm going to do it pretty square on top, too. So just everything kind of straight out from where it lives, just in a box.
Great comment from Dennis DeTore. Many people can cut hair, but if you know how to comb, that's when it gets exciting.
Yeah, I can't comb very well.
No, I think he's saying that you are combing very well. I think he's complimenting you.
Oh, thank you. I always tell my students it's very important to know how to handle your tools, because if you don't, then it's a hot mess.
Lots of love. Douglas McCoy says he's so proud of you. Good old Dougie's watching. Zach Schneider agrees. Paul Stafford is amazing. Again, yeah, we're always looking for inspiration and mentors. And if you haven't, first of all, you should check out Katie's work, because she's been posting on social media pretty much since it started.
I just got the notification. I'd been a part of Instagram since November 10th, 2010.
Right on. Yeah, so Katie's been on that social media train from day one, expressing herself, showing her work. And is it something that you also use to build your clientele?
Yes and no. I do it more for fun. It's a lot of fun for me. I treat it like a video game. I'm just like, all right, I'm going to post this. Let's see if it works.
So you just kind of keep putting work out there and just, hope that people notice it.
Yeah. And it keeps it consistent. Like I can see growth in my work, and I can see it's like an online portfolio that I don't have to pay for. And it helps.
Here's a great, very personal question coming in from Anita Lanvin. Is 30 years too old to go back to school and finish her training to become a hairdresser?
Hell no.
Tell her.
No.
Yeah, 30 is pretty young,
I'm 30.
Yeah. 30 is young, I'd say. The one thing I would say is just, making sure that you're physically fit, because it is a physically demanding job. So, not that 30 is old, but if you do have, any back problems or feet problems or hand problems, you want to do your best to take care of those, because you're going to be standing on your feet probably for the next 30 years. But other than that, it's never too old to become a hairdresser.
No, it's not.
So continuing through with that convex line from the crown, And over direction wise, are you going to the previous or all the way back to the center?
Yes, into the previous, just to kind of build some weight at the parietal ridge.
Lots of people saying it's a perfect cut for your face, Sarah. You excited?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So, as we mentioned in the beginning, those of you maybe who are just joining us, Sarah is also a cosmetology student, a future professional here in San Diego. What made you decide to become a hairdresser?
Well, I was always interested in like coloring and like cutting my own hair growing up, so I decided why not make a career out of it, because it's something I love to do.
Right on. And how far along are you now?
I go to Paul Mitchell. I just finished their advanced makeup program, and I'm on my second week of core, so I just started learning how to do hair.
So 2 weeks in.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, good luck. You're hanging out with all the right people.
I got
You know, hanging out with Katie. She's a great mentor. And of course, we're in one of the best salons in San Diego right now, the Factory, which is owned by DJ Muldoon and his dad. And he's got an incredible staff of hairdressers here. Very inspiring group. And they offer constant education here. As a matter of fact, Kelly, can you turn around? DJ invited some of the local students to come in and hang out. Say hi, guys. Got some local hairdressers, and people just wanted to come down and see the live happen, so we're glad to have these guys here. All right, Katie, so you finished the one side and you're moving to the second.
Yes.
So will this be cut the same way, or are you looking for anything differently?
No, the same way.
And how did you know where, so that's why you kind of had the square in, because that's where you stopped and you've left all this uncut? Mm-hmm. Okay, and that's where you're going to keep those longer kind of Chelsea pieces?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do something there.
Zoe's wondering how sweaty you are right now.
Oh my god, you have no idea. I've been hanging out with DJ way too much.
Well, the good news is I am not sweating, believe it or not, because I'm usually, yeah. You don't look sweaty.
Hair in all black is good for.
Yeah, exactly. Now, let's talk about tension. As you cut the hair down short like this, what's your thought in terms of how tight you should hold it?
All right. So I learned a lot from Sally Rogerson. I hung out with her a lot, who was also trained by Tim Hartley.
She sure was. They're pals.
When I was trained a lot by Sally, she taught me a couple of really cool things. One, how to cut bangs.
Good to know.
2, she uses a ton of tension when she cuts hair. And 3, you don't always have to cross-check.
Living on the edge.
She's like wrapped my knuckles with some combs. Not really, but she helped.
Meaning, if your technique is strong enough, you can get it in the first time, and you don't have to rely on cross-checking. Yeah, that could be some controversial stuff out there.
And just visually, if it looks kind of how you're wanting it to look.
Yeah. I think that's, a very kind of modern way of thinking about hair, because sometimes a perfect haircut doesn't mean it's going to look good. The way the hair is worn in a modern way, it's more about how it's looking than it being like perfect lines. So I think that's refreshing. I wonder what you guys at home think about cross-checking. Is everyone still doing lots of cross-checking on all their shapes, or, is it something you moved away from? I also think when working with, sometimes, and Katie, you can speak to this, working in the school, do you have your students cross-check, or do you prefer them not to?
No, they do, because when I left school, I didn't know what cross-checking was. So when I got into the salon, they're like, did you cross-check? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
Yep. Lane Lascola says it looks like a square cut that they just learned in school. And yeah, there's definitely some elements of squareness here, so you're right on track there by seeing it. Being able to actually see the shapes as they're being cut means you're starting to learn and really understand. Something our good buddy DJ talks a lot about with knowledge destroys fear, is, for you to be able to see this and realize that she's cutting square means that you're definitely starting to click. I'm assuming that you're still in cosmetology school, the person who made that comment, so looking good. Love coming in from Judith McGregor. This is looking so cool. I love how soft it is, even with the blunt lines and the sections and the elevation. Lots of love coming in, Katie.
Yay! There's people like me somewhere.
And you got a lot of people watching you too. You're popular. You got a lot of friends.
On the internet.
On on the internet. Are there any other kind? Does any other kind matter?
Nah.
We're eventually all just going to sit in a pod by ourselves and experience life through the internet. All right, so you're reaching kind of where you had it pre-sectioned, and that's how you know when to stop. And then you'll have your back and your top done. Using just kind of real pure technique here, right?
Yes. I like to keep it pretty simple. I'm a very basic hair cutter. I tell my students all the time, they're like, I want to do a creative haircut. I'm like, well, you already know how.
Well, yeah, I mean, what is it? It's how you put the things together, how you put the pieces together. You know, if you understand the foundations of layering, graduation lines, square, round, triangular, it's how you combine them together. But I do think, you know, especially when you're young, you want to like create something new. Like, I'm going to do it in a way it's never been done before. And I think as you get maybe a little bit more experience, you realize that it's just about making people look their best.
I pride myself a lot on suitability and making sure my clients and my models feel comfortable. Because if they don't feel comfortable and it looks bad on them,
yeah, that's the name of the game.
it doesn't matter if it's a good haircut or not.
Yeah. Zoe's giving a shout out to you, Kelly. Kelly is behind the camera
Hey,
here.
Zoe. Hi, everyone.
Saying you guys got to get together and get vegan milkshakes again soon.
My favorite kinds.
At one point, both Zoe and Katie stayed with us in New York, and they tried to poison me with. No, I wasn't going to say
Spray paint!
With spray paint. They decided to spray paint all these capes right in the living room with no windows open or anything. And I can remember I lost a lot of IQ points that day. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yes, I also remember Kelly was saying, Gerard, it's okay, we rent. And you're like, we don't rent our brains.
Yeah, we don't rent our brains, yeah. Yeah, I don't think that spray paint indoors with the windows closed is always a good idea.
We're still here.
So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this side.
Okay, let's get the overall. So you've got the short profile, the layers through the top, these disconnections on the side. It's already looking super cute. I mean, you know, you can't go wrong there
These are just
with
like
Sarah's face.
a little fat from my liking.
Sure. So you're going to start to over-direct them or elevate them straight up to blend them in, or change the angle, maybe go through like more vertically?
Yeah, I'm going to go in vertically. So I'm going to start in the back. And I'm just going to section out what I don't want.
So you're going to leave some of it around the edges disconnected and then bring all the rest of that up?
Yeah.
Kind of blending into that square angle. So when that falls down, if you show how that falls, it'll just get longer and longer towards the perimeter. And then you've got that little bit of disconnection. It's like liposuction for the hair. Take the fat right out. Our good buddy Rick Bennett is watching. Great to have you here, Rick. Clinton Norris is such a good model.
Hi, Clinton.
Thanks for helping find the model, Clinton.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Sarah Dempsey says she is already rocking that look. Morgan Roy is watching, our good friend from Canada, another beautiful hairdresser who's been featured on HB Lives before. Here's a great question coming in from Peg Prabari. I'm sure you guys are friends.
Hi.
How much do you focus on consultations with the students, Katie? So for those of you that maybe are just joining and don't know, Katie works at the Bellis Academy, so she's working with all these future professionals every day. And here's a great question about teaching them consultations.
So I teach in the classroom and on the floor, so I do their beginning cut and color classes, and then I go with them on the floor. So when I teach them in their classes, I make sure like I do models for them. So I go over, even though I know what my model wants because we talked about it previously, I do my consultation in front of them.
Mm.
And then I'm like, okay, this is a consultation, and then they do models twice in the classroom. And I have them do their consultations with their models, and then I'll go over the consultation again with them.
What do you think makes a great consultation? What do you help them to try to to learn? What helps them, you know, really get to the heart of the matter with the consultation? Any tips there?
Just listening.
That's a good one.
Asking them what they don't want, making sure like you know their limitations, you know like what's too short, or if they want bangs, where they want their bangs.
So listening, yeah, I think that that's a great tip. And, you know, kind of having those perfect questions. Our buddy Mike Varela is watching. Great to have you here. We have Arena watching from Cape Town, South Africa. It's just amazing to see people all over the world watching. So that layering there through the sides, you kind of vertically came in, blended it to the top, and it just took all that weight right out of the middle there, but kept the length. Super cute. She could really wear anything. Makes your life really easy as a hair cutter. Now on the second side, will you work the same way, or are you thinking about changing it up?
I am gonna work the same way. I'm just switching my body position.
Do you have any, you know, general tips about body position? I think, you know, obviously if you've been trained, somebody like kind of somewhat drums body position into you, but if maybe for people out there who haven't really had that training, what are some tips that you can share?
So I know when I'm cutting concave layers, I'm gonna cut fingertips to knuckles. So, like on this side, I'm gonna be cutting into my length, and I don't wanna do that, I wanna cut short to long. So I'm gonna switch my body position.
That's almost just like a common sense one, right? Because it's just easier to cut from short to long. So you've kind of changed your body position based on the desired outcome of the line. So I guess that's a good place to start, is to actually really think about what kind of cutting line you're creating and, you know, what makes sense. And here you're saying, since you're trying to keep the length towards the outside, it's easier for you to cut from the shortest point to the longest point. And that made you turn your body position completely around. Zoe says, always cut uphill.
True.
Good one. Katie Bassan says, is watching from New Zealand. So I'm trying to think, you know, from where we are in San Diego, we've got Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. I wonder which one's the furthest away.
Yeah, and what time it is in all of those places.
And we've got Annunziata Francesco watching from Napoli, Italy.
Whoa.
Here's one. Anita is wondering, and I'm sure you have to deal with this. How does it change the concept of hair cutting when you're left-handed? I think we have a left-hander here, don't we? You're not left-handed?
Ambidextrous, but I cut right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, with my students, it's not very safe, but I try to cut left-handed for them.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a teacher, you kind of almost have to, you know, figure out how to do a little bit of left-handed cutting.
Because I hate when people just tell them, like, it's just the opposite. It's just the opposite. But it's not. It's like mirrored image. Mm-hmm. So, like, if I can't cut left-handed for them, I'm like, all right, that side of the head, do exactly what I'm doing. Just, like you're looking in a mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, so Anita, that's the basic advice, is that it's like whatever a right-handed person does on the right, you do on the left, and vice versa. But I think finding a good teacher that can, you know, show you left-handed, and it doesn't hurt to have a left-handed mentor if you're left-handed, because I've found over the years that it can be, even though we can say all those things and we can mock it up, sometimes left-handed people still can't grasp like a right-handed way of approaching it. So find a left-handed teacher.
Matt Brown in Tennessee is putting together some awesome stuff online.
For left-handed hairdressers.
So this side was a little longer, so I'm just going back and taking it down because I believe my over direction was off.
But what do you think led to that? Was it maybe body position?
Yeah, and I know just from doing hair for a while that this side of my haircuts, it's usually my right side, it always comes out longer.
So you kind of know your own weaknesses and what to look for. You know, back to the left-handed conversation, I just thought of Tristan Morrison, who has done many Facebook Lives teaching for left-handers. So if you go on our Facebook page and you look under the video tab, and you search through, Tristan probably has done 8 or 9 specific left-handed versions of classic cuts. So that's a great way to learn if you're a lefty. Coming together beautifully.
Okay.
Nice length for her texture.
Probably, I'm done with my wet cut.
Awesome. So ready to do a little bit of blow drying and then you'll get into detailing?
Yep, I'm probably gonna do a little bit of scissor over comb through the back just to clean it up and make sure it's not like lumpy. Maybe-
Tracy Sakasitz has just joined us.
Oh,
Everybody's watching you today, Katie. You're doing great.
just, like-
Isn't she doing great? She's like, I'm so nervous.
I just felt like
No.
a little bit. Oh, good.
Lots of love for this shape. It's looking fantastic.
Okay, so I'm probably
Hair
gonna
up here.
point cut through the top a little bit and then freehand some of this.
So we go right into that, or do you feel like you want to do some drying first?
Yeah, I'm gonna dry it because it's.
Okay.
Oh!
Well, nothing bad happened there. All right, guys, if you're just joining us, we're here with Caitlin Butler, Katie Butts from Instagram, one of the original 100 members of the hairbrain community, a big supporter for many years. And today's our first Facebook Live for us. You've been doing an amazing job. Show us some love in the comments. We're coming from San Diego here, and we're at the Factory, which is DJ Muldoon's salon and education center. And Katie's ready to start doing some drawing. So what do you have in mind?
I'm just gonna rough dry this back stuff and then wrap the front.
A lot of love coming in. I'll tell you some of your great comments. This model is beautiful, looks great. Kind of reminds me of the VS cut, but much shorter. Yep, and for those of you guys that maybe, it was a very famous cut from Roger Thompson, where it was kind of a short layer with length disconnected on the side, and then it was stenciled VS on the side of the cut. Yep, lots of love coming in here. Big up Katie, doing great from Michael Schneider. Loving the work. Chelsea cuts are so on point. So stylish, so doing great. All right, so why switch to the comb?
More tension.
Yeah.
I want to get her fringe area. Oh, I can't multitask.
Well, I could make it easier for you.
I just want to get the fringe area a little smoother. I didn't check if she had any weird cowlicks, which is really bad. I probably should have. But I knew I was going to take it quite short, so I was just like, whatever. If it jumps, it jumps. If
So
not,
just from that
no.
technical layering, that's laying down beautifully. And if you're watching at home, Katie cut this convex, so there's no corner. And you can see how soft it is without even doing any point cutting or anything.
Sorry if I burn you.
And choosing this style of drawing, what is this going to bring out for you, this wrap drawing?
I'm just wrapping the hair around her head shape, so it's going to be smoother.
So the idea is the head is kind of like an ironing board or a roller, and you're just
Yep.
kind of setting it on there.
I love that. I love that. I tell my students that all the time.
Now you're changing your blow drying technique. Why?
The hair's a little bit longer, and I want to get it dry pretty quick. So I'm just leaping.
Yeah, so that gives you a little more lock-in tension, and you can pull through a bit. And on the edge there, you're trying to keep a little bit of texture. Yeah, so a little twist drying. And I noticed you didn't put any product in yet. Is there any reason?
I'm the worst salon stylist. I don't use a lot of product like ever. Mostly because I forget. But I mean, her hair's nice. It's not like frizzy or weird.
So generally, you're a low maintenance kind of product person.
Yeah.
Lots of love. We've got Jean Farrell watching from Scotland, says it's brilliant. Watching from London, I'd love her to do my hair. Do you have a preference with dryers? We've got a question from...
Yes, I really love Elchin dryers, which is the hair dryer I'm using right now. I dropped mine, so it sounds like a lawnmower right now.
the motors are a
But
little
yeah, I
loose.
really like Elchins and then like the original metal Wiggos. I like heavy dryers.
Yeah. Why do you like heavy dries?
Well, I don't have to go to the gym.
Yeah, there you go. Get your arm workout in.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's just like what I was trained using.
Morgan Williams is wondering, what would you call this cut? You said it's kind of inspired by like a Chelsea.
Chelsea-ish.
Chelsea, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So again, if you're just joining, you can see the beautiful kind of square layering through the center, disconnections on the edge, and now that Katie's dried the hair, she's going to go and do some dry cutting and refining. So we're starting in the nape with some scissor over comb?
Yes. So I'm going in with the fatter side of my comb, just because I'm not trying to take off a ton of length. I'm just trying to buff out any weird bumps or...
I noticed that you changed combs to a white comb. Is there a reasoning?
Because I have really bad eye. Like I wear glasses, but I don't wear glasses. Mm-hmm. And it's just easier to see because her hair's dark on the lighter comb.
Yeah, it's more contrast so you can see, because you're, like you said, you're just trying to take out any little bumps or anything. Our good buddy Michaela Olmstead is watching. Great to have you with us, Michaela. Also doing lots and lots of beautiful work. Sharing constantly. So happy to see that. Michaela actually took a class not too long ago with me and Julian, which was fun. Trying to expose that tattoo a little bit.
A little bit. I don't want to take it too short because then it'll kind of look like those like early 2000s scenester haircuts where it was like, what was it called, the shotgun blast?
Was that the name of it? Was that really what it was called?
I think so. I don't know.
Interesting. Any tips here with scissor over comb? It's, you know, a lot harder than it looks, so any tips I'm sure would be appreciated.
Keep your blades moving. And I always go back. If I stop, bottom of the hairline, work my way up.
So always work from the bottom. You can't just kind of stop in the middle and restart because you'll get steps. Keep the blade moving. Do you kind of have like a certain tempo to it? How fast?
Depends on what I'm listening to.
There you
Depends
go.
on like what's happening. But most of the time, like blow drying and scissor over comb, I zone out.
Yeah, it's going to be very zen. But again, you can see that rhythm there. It's so important. You know, it's like if you turn on a clipper, it has to have a perfect kind of fluid motion. And it's the same with scissor over comb. I think that's where people have the challenge. You can get like little lines and bumps if it's not opening and closing consistently. And looking from the side, does that help you kind of see the shape of the profile?
Yes, and any dips, like where her undercut ended and the real hair, her longer hair started, there is a little kind of dip.
For those who are asking about scissors or shears, Katie's using the HB Pro. Yep, that's the scissor that we make at Hairbrain. So we make it in Japan and Niigata, and that is the 5.5 inch, and it's available at hairbrain.pro, as well as all the combs and clips. You're quite a comb and clip junkie, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. How big is the comb collection these days?
I mean, it's smaller now. Some of them have broken, and I've like lost them, and I keep some at home.
We'll have to see if we can get you some new ones.
But it's still it's going. It's still good. I'm branching out. I'm not using the 339.
Yeah.
I haven't used the 339 this entire time.
339, if you're watching at home, is Y.S. Park's probably most popular comb. Yeah, I mean, for me, I branched out from this a long time ago, too. I kind of like working with other combs. There's so many great ones out there, like what you're using now is like a Sesebon. It's a beautiful comb, especially in white. If you guys are just joining us, we're coming to you live from San Diego at the factory with Caitlin Butler, who is an educator at the Bellis Academy teaching future professionals, and she's also a stylist here at the factory. This is Sarah. Say hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Sarah is a future professional, young cosmetology student, 2 weeks in, and she wanted something fun and funky, and she's got the right person doing it, Katie Butler. So how do you know how and when to kind of move on, Especially when you're working, you've got your shape in, it's all clean and balanced.
Well,
So would you say it's all visual now?
Yeah. I work pretty visually too. Like I'll make sure I have my wet shape in pretty good, and then I won't shred it to bits, but I'll go in and I'll put texture through it.
Point cutting, do you think, is what would probably happen next?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, the profile is beautiful. Heather Reed is saying that. How would you describe Sarah's head shape? Did you feel like?
Good.
Yeah.
She got a good head
Good
shape.
balance, yeah, because you can see it in the profile. It can be one of the hardest things,
She's
though.
got a good occipital bone.
Yeah. All right, so now coming up to the top, now you're going to start to move into some point cutting. And why do you decide to use point cutting now?
Just to kind of put a little texture through the end. She's got a good amount of hair. It's pretty dense.
It
so
seems quite fine when it was longer, but now that you're taking it down shorter, you can see she's got a nice, as you said, dense head.
So I'm going to point cut a little bit, and then I'm going to micro through and slice some weight out.
What's the difference? Why point cutting first versus slicing? What do you find?
Just to see how it's reacting. I've never worked on her hair before, so I honestly, when we went to go look for her as a model, thank you so much, DJ and Don. I would have not been here without them. I kind of just looked at her. I was like, wow, you're really pretty. Okay, you have cool-ish hair. I don't know what's happening in the back of your head. I'm like, oh, it's bald back there. Okay, and that's all I looked at. And I was like, well, she would be a model. So I didn't really know what was happening until right before I shampooed her.
That's how it is sometimes when you're, doing demonstrations, gotta roll with the punches, but this is coming together beautifully.
And that's how I roll through life.
Let's just get some of that hair off her face. Yeah. So again, as you're doing that, what are you looking for?
Just feeling it. If it looks fat, I'm gonna go in there and take some weight out. Because with this haircut, I don't want it to look fat. I want it to be more head hugging, and then she can get texture out of it if she wants to.
And you cut the top vertically and you're point cutting through it horizontally. Is that deliberate?
It's just easier for me. And secretly checking my shape.
How'd you do? Looks pretty clean.
I mean, it
and
looks
balanced.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm knocking some holes in it, but her hair can afford to have a little bit of.
So here's a question from Heather about pointing. How do you do that without cutting yourself? You do cut yourself sometimes.
So I wear all black.
Uh-huh.
So typically I would blow dry my cut behind my client's back and not let them know I cut myself, but I'm gonna keep it real. I cut myself all the time.
So now working into the sides and same idea, just bringing those up in deep point cutting. Looks like you're going a bit deeper than you did on the top.
Yes, because I have more hair to work on, and it's gonna be a little harder to cut myself.
So you got more distance, yeah. Did you ever try to close the scissor on the way out? Have you ever heard that theory?
Yeah, I do, and then I'm like,
Too much.
and these are also a lot bigger than scissors I normally use. I did switch scissors for scissor overcombing because the blades on these are a lot fatter than my normal scissors. I do like to switch to a fatter blade when I scissor overcomb, just for speed.
And it's like the strength of it can just get through the hair. Sarah's got a lot of fans out there saying how beautiful, how pretty her face is.
That was my goal. I was like, if my haircut sucks, at least my model will be very pretty.
So Sarah is now in cosmetology school, just starting out her career, and super excited to have you join the ranks of the professional craft hairdressers. All right. So what's happening now?
This I still feel like is a little fat for my liking. I'm going to go through and I'm going to kind of slice some stuff out.
So now this is a different, you were point cutting before, and now this is a different way of using the shear or the scissor, and you're calling it slicing?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, that's what most people call it. There's lots of different names for everything, you know, in our craft, but a lot of people do call that slicing.
Slicing, sliding.
And what do you feel that that's going to create differently for you?
Just softness and like skinnier pieces.
So just really like removing bulk and keeping the length.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With something like this, will you complete one side completely, or will you just do a little bit and then move back to the other side?
I'll probably do one side completely and see how that looks, and then work on the other side.
That definitely, between the pointing and the slicing, it really emphasized the length and the looseness at the edge. Kind of took out the meat in the middle. A little more liposuction. And as you do this, is there still a lot of tension in your fingers, or is it just a very light touch?
A little looser.
So when the hair was wet, you had a strong, even tension. Now it's more of a gentle touch, just letting the hair kind of live.
Yeah. Just because I didn't do a crazy blow dry on her, it's kind of like how her hair's probably going to fall.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want it to like look crazy when she does wear it natural.
And why twisting it first?
Different texture.
Mm-hmm.
Moving the hair around a little bit.
You just get a little bit more mixture of lengths in there, don't
And I
you?
feel like it falls softer.
And again, with this kind of cutting, it's just purely visual. There's no guideline. You've already put your shape in, so now you're just kind of evaluating it visually.
Yeah, and down here, where I left it, it's quite a bit longer, and I did kick my outline out. I did that for a reason, because I did want to go through and slice through her hair.
Looking beautiful. Fun haircut for a future hairdresser. And Sarah, have you always done fun things with your hair?
Yeah, I've done my hair every single color. I've also done it rainbow before, and it's always like a different cut style.
And that's one of the
Ever
reasons
evolving.
why you wanted to be a hairdresser, just because you like to have fun with your own hair, be
Yeah.
creative?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That fringe looks great from the way that you layered it.
Thank you. I'm just going in and kind of cutting off some pieces I don't want.
It's incredible how that, you know, the softness is there just from the technical layering. Like, you didn't really have to do a lot of work there. And is that why you chose not to have a corner on the front?
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Mr. Aaron Lacey.
When you're coaching like young students, is it difficult for you to like let them know maybe when it's time to walk away? Like when you've cut enough?
No, I tell them, step the F back, you're done. I was like, please stop. I'm just the way I was trained and the way like I was taught, I am probably a little more harsh on them. If they're doing something weird, I'm like, yo, stop. Like, or dude, what happened? Like, what's going on?
Angela Ursich is watching now. Everybody's tuned in to watch Katie. You have so many friends all over the world. Here's an interesting question from Tammy Lynn Conway. When you're cutting, do you find that you sometimes like one side more than the other?
It depends on how bad I messed it up.
You're very self-deprecating, all right.
Well, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
If I'm like, ooh, that side didn't turn out too good, I'll take a picture of the other side. Or like,
Let's get some of this hair off Sarah's face here.
I don't know where I put my brush. My little, oh no, my like face brush.
So pretty, looks fabulous on Sarah here. So it looks like you're kind of getting into the final details. So what are you thinking as you're finishing?
So I'm carving out a little bit around her face, just because on this side it closes her face off and looks very boxy. And this side I already have started opening up around her face, and I like the way that looks better because you can see her cheekbones and, I don't know, but by her eyeballs a little better. So I'm just going in and taking some of that out.
So it's like putting like a light like C shaping around the face, like opening it up.
Yeah.
Deborah Wagner, most people call a cut like this a Chelsea, if you're wondering. She's like, what would you call this? You know, I don't know that every hairdresser would know that, but a lot would. It's kind of short internally and longer. There's been quite a lot of modern interpretations, but it's kind of from the, probably the late 60s, I guess, is when it was most known.
Especially one like this. Nowadays they're more buzzed all the way up, and you just have like the bangs.
That's
and,
super
like,
aggressive, yeah. We're here, we've just kind of, you know, modernized it and softened it.
Yeah, I was talking to DJ after I found her, and I was like, I like Paul Stafford's stuff, and he said, Paul Weller's haircut, and I said,
Yeah.
did you see my Instagram? I just posted a bunch of pictures of him.
Yeah. It's a very kind of Brit pop, Brit mod kind of shape. I think this is looking great. Looks like you're there.
Yeah, I think I'm done.
People are wondering if you're going to add any product to finish it up.
Yeah, maybe. I'm actually going to get a little... Kelly's butt ran up to my side.
Oh, shit.
Harrison McCrow says, loving the look, Katie.
Oh, thank you. So glad people like it. I was very worried.
Well, it takes all kinds, you know. There's obviously some people out there that don't like any kind of short hair, so they're like, she should have long hair. But no, you've got lots of fans.
So should your mom. Sorry, that was not a reflection of me as a person. I'm sorry. I'm expressing myself creatively, gosh. Just leave me alone. Let her have short hair if she wants short hair. Okay, I'm gonna find some product.
So what do you think? You're looking for like maybe wax or?
Yeah, something kind of matte and tacky. I just look happy that I cut myself.
Lovely profile there.
Secret.
Okay, so what are you working with?
Some matte, sticky stuff, a
Matte.
mixture of
Things.
some stuff that didn't really melt very well.
Get a little heat on there with your hands.
I thought it would be easier
Hey,
to
Dara.
melt it down.
Awesome, let's bring out a beautiful texture there. What are your plans for Thanksgiving, Katie?
You know, I don't know.
Tofurkey?
No, my family likes to go to this place called Verona Casino because my family's super Asian, and my grandma loves the casino, so we go almost every year. We saw Rob Halford a couple years ago.
Sweet. Rob Halford for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, Rob Halford and his boyfriend were there a couple years ago.
Oh, I thought he was performing.
No, my mom was like,
Just hanging
Caitlin,
out.
stop staring at Rob Halford and his boyfriend.
So as you finish wrapping up here, there's a lot of people want to follow you on Instagram and get in touch with you. Let us know where they can find you.
At Katie Butts with a Z.
Is it 2 T's and a Z?
Yeah.
Yeah, at Katie Butts.
Or like butt.
Awesome, are we ready for the
I think
cake off?
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Let's see the grand finale. You want to stand up for us, Sarah? Get back here with Katie. Come on over here, DJ. Thanks for hosting us. You can see DJ now has long hair again. For those of you who over the years have been requesting for him to grow his hair back. Thank you all for joining us. We've had a great time with DJ Katie. Thank you, Sarah. Good luck with your career.
Thank you.
Peace out, guys. We'll see you again tomorrow. We'll be with Michael Pulcinelli, who I think is one of the most brilliant avant-garde hairdressers in the world. So we'll see you tomorrow.